What WWE superstar belongs in the actual GOAT conversation now? Everybody's going to have different answers, right? Because certain people may view certain things over this, or their bias may play a part of it with the nostalgia because maybe they grew up on somebody and they feel like that person is the GOAT because maybe it was the childhood hero, whatever the case may be. What I'm going to do, I'm going to name 20 WWE superstars and I'm going to tell you whether I believe or not they belong in the GOAT conversation. Now, you're probably going to hear a lot of no's because the GOAT conversation is very nitpicky. Like, you have to be nitpicky on this type of conversation because we're talking about the literal greatest of all time. Like, only one person can get that, award attached to him. So there's probably going to be a lot of no's, but I'll explain why for every superstar. Before we start though, please make sure to subscribe, like, share, comment below, turn on all notifications to be updated with all things wrestling related right here on this platform, and to be updated every single Sunday 5 p.m. Eastern time zone when we go live for the No Name Wrestling Podcast, one of the best wrestling podcasts out there. You don't want to miss, I promise you. First name we're going to talk about is John Cena, and the answer for me is absolutely yes with a capital Y. John Cena definitely is in the conversation to be the greatest of all time. Now, I know WWE's been attaching that to his retirement tour and everything, but it's legit. You look at his longevity, his body of work, his match quality, his promos, his impact. Like, John Cena embodies everything you want to have, like, as a success when it comes to a WWE superstar at the highest level. Now, Cena's always had this critique about him that he can't wrestle or his wrestling isn't that great. And sure, his movesets in the ring may be limited to an extent, but if you genuinely think about it, John Cena's had a good match or even a phenomenal match with a lot of the top stars in WWE, from Kurt Angle to Undertaker at Vengeance in 2005, Batista and JBL and Edge, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, like Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, man, many superstars with many different styles. Like, John Cena's always been able to adapt and provide to other people's styles and provide good matches out of those people. So he checks off that box right there. Promo ability, I mean, he might be the most savage and most ruthless WWE superstar in a promo battle that you don't want to match up with. When you hear that fine speech, he cooking somebody, bro. You just know that for a fact. Yes, his character was cheesy and corny for a lot of people because during his peak, it was the Let's Go Cena sucks chance for a lot of that time frame. But you got to look at the impact John Cena's had. He's had more Make-A-Wish grants than anybody in the history of celebrities. He's granted more Make-A-Wishes than anybody in the history of celebrities. That goes to show you right there the type of impact John Cena's had on people's lives, bro. He's like a true superhero to a lot of people. So he embodied that superhero white meat babyface gimmick to the T that really not many people can fit that gimmick. Like, they tried to do it with Roman Reigns after the Cena era, and we saw how that failed tremendously. So not everybody can fit that bill. When it comes to everything else too, John Cena, I feel like, is one of the biggest superstars you will ever see in professional wrestling, and I definitely feel like he's in the conversation to be the greatest of all time. Let's talk about the OTC, Roman Reigns, man. Roman is a weird case because his peak was really peaking. Like, that Tribal Chief peak, bro, that's one of the greatest peaks you will ever see in professional wrestling history, and I firmly believe Roman Reigns had the greatest world championship reign in company's history on a full-time and a part-time schedule. But then you look at that big dog era. Yes, all the big dog stuff necessarily wasn't bad, but there were some lows in that era that you could argue no main eventers ever had at the level Roman had it at, man. Like, being forced in the WrestleMania main event every year when majority of those main events weren't even that good. The Suffering Succotash promo, the Magic Beam promo, the booking that he had in like 2019, getting dog food dumped on him and losing pay-per-view matches to Shane McMahon and Eric Rowan and King Corbin. Like, they didn't do Roman Reigns any justice by his booking, but in-ring wise, Roman has always been good. He's had good matches, as the big dog came in with the Shield, one of the greatest factions of all time. He has another great faction in the Bloodline. Like, Roman Reigns really is a 3-time Hall of Famer if you think about it. He's going to go in for his own individual career, for the Shield, and the Bloodline. So he's going to have 3 Hall of Fame rings. Man, if you really put it into context, though, it's weird, man. It's weird. I might have to say no, just for the simple fact, even though his peak was great, but then, I could say his peak wasn't that long, but then you look at other superstars, their peak wasn't long, and they're probably going to be in that GOAT conversation too, so, man, Roman's case is weird, man. I think Roman has an argument. I'll say he has an argument, depending on who you ask. Like, if you say Roman belongs there, I'm not going to fight you back and say, okay, that's crazy to say. But if you say he doesn't belong there, I'm also not going to fight you back and say, okay, I mean, I can understand. So he's like maybe the most 50-50 guy you could name, a part of this conversation that has a weird balance. Let's talk about the current face of the WWE, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. This is an easy answer for me, no disrespect, but the answer is no for Cody Rhodes. He's having one of the craziest peaks, I've ever seen, too, from a babyface. Like, his babyface arc, I think it's going to go down as one of the greatest WWE's ever seen. I firmly believe Cody Rhodes, might be a hot take, but I don't care. Cody Rhodes will go down as one of the best babyfaces WWE's ever had. Top 5 babyface all time, bro. Like, he's going to go down as a top 5 babyface the company's ever seen. Even that, though, I don't know if there's much Cody can do at this stage to really reach that type of conversation. Like, to be considered the greatest of all time in the GOAT conversation, I don't think Cody can do much more to really be put in that type of stratosphere. Like, I just don't see Cody Rhodes reaching that type of, topic for me personally. We got to talk about The Undertaker. 100% he belongs in this conversation. Undertaker, greatest character in WWE history. The longevity speaks for itself, even though, yes, the older he got, the DX match, with the Brothers of Destruction, and of course the match against Goldberg. Like, some of those matches as he got older, yes, didn't turn out so great, but he was old, beat up, body was all hurt and everything. Like, what do you expect? But Undertaker, man, has provided some of the best storylines we've ever seen in WWE history, and he's one of the very few guys that never needed to be labeled as the guy to succeed as one of, like, the most important superstars and one of the biggest superstars the company's ever seen. Like, he also convinced people for a long time that he was some type of dead man. Like, he played that character, the Phenom, so well, the Undertaker, that there are people out there who genuinely believe when they grew up watching him, no matter what time frame it was, that you didn't think that he was like a normal human being, myself included, which is crazy to say. Like, you knew Undertaker was a guy, but it's like, something's different about him. Like, he just had different vibes to him. I don't know how to explain it. So everything else, though, Undertaker definitely belongs, in that GOAT conversation, not to mention the WrestleMania streak. Legendary. There will never be anything else that, will compare to that WrestleMania streak. Shawn Michaels is definitely a thumbs up for sure. He's the first guy to become a Triple Crown champion in WWE history, winning all their major championships. He's also made other history by becoming the first guy to win the first ever Hell in a Cell, won the first ever Elimination Chamber. Like, Shawn Michaels also had 2 elite peaks in the 90s and the 2000s. You can argue his peak in the 2000s was better than the one in the 90s. And in the 90s, he was treated more as the top guy, being the world champion and everything. In the 2000s, he wasn't winning world championships like that and wasn't really treated as like the top guy, but he's always somebody that stood out that was very important. You always had to watch his stories. You always want to see his matches. Like, Shawn Michaels, by far, to me, is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. Like, the matches he's had with Triple H, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Batista, Chris Jericho, bro, Mick Foley, like Bret Hart, like, my gosh, bro, you name them. Shawn Michaels has provided a great match with pretty much anybody. He could have a 5-star match with the broomstick. Like, Shawn Michaels has to be considered in the conversation to be the greatest WWE superstar of all time. Like, how could he not? It's Shawn freaking Michaels. Hulk Hogan, man. This is going to be a controversial one, but keeping it real non-biased, yes, Hulk Hogan definitely has to be in the conversation to be, the GOAT. Like, he was the first superstar once Vince Jr. bought the company and took it global. He was the guy they marketed as the guy that helped propel up the company to the heights they needed it to go to. Like, the Hulkamania era. Yeah, that Hulkamania era was one of the biggest ones of all time. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, Hulk Hogan was, you could say, bigger than wrestling at one point, bro. He was like the big first major worldwide superstar they had at that level that they marketed at the top that just changed the game. Hulk Hogan revolutionized professional wrestling, especially in the WWE. So for his impact alone, he has to be in that conversation because he was the first guy to really kind of help propel it off to that level. So I know Hulk Hogan's had a lot of controversy attached to his name for obvious reasons, so I completely understand how people could feel about him, even though that he's passed away, but that doesn't change how people are going to feel about him. I totally understand that. I'm not discrediting anybody for that, but if we're talking about from a wrestling standpoint, non-biased, I don't see how you could sit there with a straight face and say Hulk Hogan doesn't belong, at least in the conversation, to be considered the GOAT. With the impact that he had and everything that he did for the WWE, he just has to be. Seth freaking Rollins, man. Seth Rollins might be one of the most overlooked superstars of all time. I don't think he belongs in the GOAT conversation, but he has an argument to be top 10 all time in WWE, and some people don't want to hear that because they're looking at people from the past like, oh, he's not better than this person or that person, but Seth is literally one of the most accomplished superstars the company's ever seen, with Money in the Bank, 2 elite Money in the Bank cash-ins, Royal Rumble win, WrestleMania main events under his resume, he's won like every championship there is to win, like the matches he's had, like the stories he's been a part of, like Seth Rollins, he definitely could be in the conversation to be top 10 all time in WWE. But for him to be in the GOAT conversation, I don't necessarily agree with that. That's too far for me personally, because I don't think Seth is over Roman all time for me personally. Like, you could argue Seth is a better wrestler than Roman for sure, but impact Roman, star power Roman, storytelling Roman, moments Roman is checking off more boxes than Seth all time, which is why I think Roman could be in that conversation, depending on who you ask, but I don't think you could make an argument for Seth for me personally. The phenomenal AJ Styles would definitely be a hard no. Obviously, his TNA career is where it's really known for his legacy and stuff, and even the stuff he did in New Japan Pro Wrestling was great as well, but AJ will always be looked at as like a TNA guy because he's on the Mount Rushmore of TNA superstars. He helped put that company on the map, but AJ Styles being considered to be the GOAT in the WWE, he did have one of the best rookie years of all time, I will say. Like, the stuff he did with John Cena, beating John Cena definitely helped propel him up. The stuff he did with Jericho before that, obviously becoming the WWE champion as well. Like, he had one of the best rookie years of all time, but to be considered the GOAT, though, nah, there's definitely people way above him. CM Punk, I think, could have been more in this type of conversation if he'd, like, stayed in WWE through that time that he was gone, but I think his absence really kind of eliminates him from that conversation. He did some great things before that, but to be gone that long also kind of made him a bigger star. Like, CM Punk is by far one of the most popular superstars of all time. That can't be denied. Like, I don't know how many superstars you can name that were gone for damn near a decade and they chanted your name for, like, consistently those years. There aren't many people you could really point out that had that type of impact on people. So CM Punk definitely has the impact. He's one of the most beloved superstars of all time, also one of the most controversial. But to put him in the GOAT conversation, I can't put him up there with like John Cena, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. I can't put him in that type of category because CM Punk just doesn't belong respectfully in that category with those type of superstars, with the things they've done and the consistency, the longevity. Just, I can't put him in that type of conversation. Rey Mysterio, arguably the greatest luchador of all time for many people. Of course, you know, El Grande Americano's out there, so he might have something to say about that, you know. That's just me. But side note, Rey Mysterio would have to be a no as well. He's definitely one of the most influential wrestlers of all time when it comes to lucha libre wrestling, mask wrestling. Like, if you walk on the street and ask somebody to name a wrestler who wears a mask, Rey Mysterio is going to be the answer majority of the time. Like, I promise you. Like, you say, hey, can you name a wrestler with the mask? They're probably going to say Rey Mysterio because he's the first guy that comes to their mind. And he's going to be the first guy they think of because he revolutionized that. So to put him in the WWE GOAT, we're talking to strictly World Wrestling Entertainment. Just the WWE umbrella. Nah, I can't put him in that conversation. Jeff Hardy, man. Would have to be a big NO for me. Respect to Jeff Hardy. He's been a part of one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Of course, his singles career was also very successful. Could have been better, obviously, if he was on a straight path. And Jeff Hardy even said, if I was, walking the straight path, he believes he could have been bigger than John Cena at one point at his peak, which I don't necessarily know about that one, but, it's Jeff Hardy's opinion. I'm not going to discredit it because Jeff Hardy was super popular at one point. He was outselling John Cena in merch at one point. That is true, and they have always said Jeff Hardy was bigger than Obama in 2008. So, Jeff Hardy, though, I just feel like putting him in the GOAT conversation is just disrespectful. I'm not going to lie to you. Respectfully to Jeff Hardy, but to put him in that type of conversation is nasty work. I can't do that. Ric Flair could be the greatest wrestler of all time just in wrestling terms. But WWE-wise, he does not belong in the WWE GOAT conversation. He is, without a doubt, a no, and it should not be a question. I never understood why people put Ric Flair in the WWE GOAT conversation because Ric Flair's best years of his career were never in the WWE. His best years were in the NWA and WCW, which were outside of the WWE brand. He had some success in the WWE. He was WWF champion, a part of Evolution. Like, he did have a successful career there, but his best years were never in the WWE. Peak prime Ric Flair was never in the WWE. The 80s, that Ric Flair wasn't a part of WWE. So Ric Flair, you could say maybe on the Mount Rushmore or the greatest wrestler of all time, just in wrestling history. But for WWE-wise, he doesn't even belong in the top 10. Randy Orton. Ooh, I hear voices in my head. Randy Orton, man, one of the most accomplished superstars of all time, a multiple-time world champion, has won all the championships outside of the world championships, Royal Rumble winner twice, WrestleMania main eventer, Money in the Bank winner. He's done everything. The longevity is there, the impact is there as well. Like, Randy Orton is one of the greatest of all time, no doubt about it. But to be in the GOAT conversation, Randy never really felt like the guy because he never really was the guy, if we're being honest. Like, he was never the number one guy over John Cena, but he never really had to be. Randy's definitely one of the greatest heels of all time. I think he's a top 5 heel in WWE history, but to put him in that GOAT conversation, like the number one GOAT, respectfully, I'm going to have to say no, because comparing Randy to other people, don't think he's on the level of Shawn Michaels. I don't think he's better than John Cena. Don't think he's better than Undertaker for sure. I would even say Hulk Hogan ranks above him, even though I'm a Randy Orton fan over Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's impact just pretty much outweighs Randy's career, if I'm being honest. Like, Randy's never had the type of impact that Hulk Hogan did at the apex and revolutionized wrestling the way that Hogan did, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like I can't put Randy in that conversation. I know a lot of people probably will say yes, maybe for the nostalgia or certain bias because they like Randy Orton, but if we're being realistic, I can't put Randy Orton on that type of conversations compared to those people, man. I just can't do it. I don't feel like he belongs there. Like, Randy Orton's a top 10 WWE superstar for sure. Top 10 lock. Top 10 lock easily, but to be the GOAT, though? I can't say yes for that. Absolutely yes, without a question. Even though Stone Cold Steve Austin's peak didn't last too long, he's an anomaly. He gets a pass for it because he's the biggest draw the company's ever had. Stats and statistics speaks for itself. Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he was the top guy, ratings were at an all-time high because people love to use the ratings argument. So if we're talking ratings were at an all-time high when Stone Cold was the man, and he helped save WWE during that era so they could win the Monday Night Wars. Like, the Austin 316 t-shirt is like the highest, most sold t-shirt of all time, even still to this day. Stone Cold Steve Austin selling crazy merch. Like, and he hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania 38, but before that, he hadn't wrestled in like 20 years, bro. Like, he'd been out of the game for a long time, and he's still that revolutionary. So, even though his peak was like 4 or 5 years, in that time frame, he did so much for wrestling. He is a revolutionary needle mover. Yes, he belongs in that conversation. If you smell... Look, man, I feel like people don't give The Rock his flowers like they should. Now, obviously, Stone Cold was the top guy of the Attitude Era, but I feel like The Rock was never far behind. You could even argue certain years The Rock was bigger than Stone Cold Steve Austin. You look at their popularity, Rock was right there. Storylines, Rock was right there. Match quality, Rock was right there. Promos, Rock was right there. He was never far behind. Like, Stone Cold never gapped this man. Some people try to make it seem like he cleared and gapped this man. It's completely false. He never gapped that man. But Rock, being in that Austin era, I do feel like he got overshadowed a bit because Austin was just bigger at their peaks. Like, Stone Cold's popularity was just undeniable. Even though The Rock was popular, that Stone Cold pop is different, man. And I feel like Stone Cold just has bigger impact on the business now. The Rock, I will say, is the biggest superstar wrestling has ever seen when you count his credentials in wrestling and outside of wrestling in Hollywood. That's just undeniable. He's been a part of some of the biggest box office matches we've ever seen. Rock vs. Austin, Rock vs. Hogan, Rock vs. Cena. If they ever do Rock vs. Roman, that could shatter records, man. So, Rock in the GOAT conversation, I'm not gonna say no. I feel like saying no is too disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie to you because he's a needle mover too. Rock is a revolutionary superstar. Even though over the last couple years he's done some things that people haven't been happy about with his storytelling and lack of commitment with certain things, I get it, but it's The Rock we talking about, bro. Like, I feel like Rock, he's always been up there for me. Some people try to say, like, oh, he's been pushed down further and further. Like, maybe so, but not much further to me, bro. I feel like Rock has to be right up there in those combos. Like, The Rock is a needle mover. I don't know if he's a big needle mover compared to the other people, but I feel like he has to at least be considered for the conversation. You don't have to say he's unanimously in there, but I feel like he has to be in the conversation at least a little bit. Kurt Angle, bro, he definitely could have been in here if his WWE career lasted longer, man. Like, he had a 6-year career, and he had, to me, the greatest rookie year in WWE history. All the things he did in his rookie year, winning King of the Ring, holding the European and IC title at the same time, becoming WWF champion, beating The Rock, winning the 6-man Hell in a Cell. Like, Kurt Angle was crazy his rookie year, and all the things he did afterwards, too, just phenomenal. Kurt Angle is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, but he did have a better TNA career, I will say, than a WWE career. He's even said that himself. Those words came out of his own mouth. his TNA career did outweigh his WWE career for sure, and I feel like him leaving the WWE and then going on to have the career he did in TNA just eliminates him from the GOAT conversation just in the WWE alone. The game! Triple H, the cerebral assassin, the king of kings. You always got to do that Triple H voice every time you talk about Triple H. Triple H to me is a top 10 WWE superstar of all time, but I can't put him in the GOAT conversation. He's one of the best heels ever too, and I know people will try to tax him because he's married to Stephanie McMahon and all that stuff, and say, well, if he wasn't married to Stephanie, maybe he wouldn't be a 14-time world champion. Maybe he would. Who knows? But we're not going to discredit Triple H like he wasn't like that. Triple H was very good. Yes, Triple H's best matches are probably ones with stipulations, but he's also proved that he can have good matches without stipulations attached to it. Jeff Hardy and John Cena, like he's wrestled a lot of people that didn't have stipulation matches, and he's had some good matches with those individuals. So Triple H, I feel like definitely should be in the top 10. I don't see how people could leave him out of the top 10. Beyond me, some people will, but it's beyond me. But I can't put him in the GOAT conversation. Like, he doesn't belong there to me. Bret Hart, I ain't gonna lie, he might have the coldest nickname of all time. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That shit is elite. I'm not gonna lie to you. That nickname is tough. Bret Hart to be in the GOAT conversation now. A lot of people tax Bret Hart. He might be one of the most disrespected legends of this modern era. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like people don't appreciate Bret Hart enough as they should because, yes, I know he's complained about certain things over the years and said certain things in interviews, but Bret Hart at his peak, bell-to-bell wise, there aren't too many people you can name that could touch Bret Hart in the ring. He's easily one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time, point blank, period. Now, when you're critiquing his character work and mic skills, yes, he didn't have the charisma of a Ric Flair or the Macho Man or some other people, but you look at those 90s, man. Yes, the new generation era probably is the worst era in WWE history, but anytime they attached the WWF Championship on Bret Hart in that main event scene, the main event scene was thriving. Like, some of the best storylines and matches a part of that era has Bret Hart's name attached to it, bro. Like, he did the best he could to try to help carry that era with the people that he worked with and the things that he did. Like, he provided good matches with Diesel. He was providing good matches out of Shawn Michaels and, Mr. Perfect and Undertaker and many others. Owen Hart, bro. Like, Bret Hart in the 90s, bro, was having, like, damn near match of the year contenders, match of the year, like, of the decades, bro. Like, the stuff he did with Stone Cold, too. Like, Bret Hart is definitely, I feel like, also one of the most impactful superstars as well, especially for the wrestlers, in this modern era who were around then and are still wrestling today, bro. But GOAT conversation, I'm going to have to throw up an X for that one. Got to throw up an X for that one. I wouldn't put Bret Hart in the GOAT conversation because I do feel like there are other superstars that have eclipsed him or are better than him, have bigger peaks. Like, other people that I would just put above him now at this stage. The rated R superstar Edge, man, he might be the most overlooked legend of all time, I'm not going to lie. Edge is also one of the most accomplished superstars, like, ever. First superstar to win Money in the Bank, multiple-time world champion, WrestleMania main eventer, had one of the greatest comebacks of all time when people thought he would never wrestle again. Multiple-time champion of many different championships, like his stories, his matches. Edge on the mic, I think, is top 10 on the mic all time. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he's one of the greatest promos ever. Can't put him in the GOAT conversation. No, he is one of the greatest heels of all time. I think he's a top 5 heel in WWE history, but compared to other WWE superstars, they just peaked higher and have done more. So I can't put Edge in that conversation, especially with that gap he had too. Yeah, it's a no for me. The Beast, Brock Lesnar, man. Brock Lesnar, I firmly believe if he never left WWE in 2004 and he stayed the entire time, he could have went down top 5 all time in WWE, if we're being honest. You look at the things he did in the 2-year time frame, winning King of the Ring, becoming WWE Champion at 25 years old, being Undertaker and Hell in a Cell, winning his first ever Royal Rumble he was a part of, winning his first WrestleMania main event that he was a part of. His first WrestleMania, he was in the main event. How many superstars can you name off the top of your head? Their first WrestleMania, they were literally in the main event, bro. They don't give that spot just to anybody. They clearly had plans to push that man for a very long time. He won WWE championships like multiple times in that era as well. If he had stayed, bro, not to mention the matches he was having too, Brock Lesnar, bro, he could have been pushing those top 5 categories. He left, came back, and he did some things after that ended the streak, which was shocking. Conquered Super Cena, like, he did a lot of things, but he also did a lot of bad, bro. I feel like Brock Lesnar's bad was one of the worst of any peak superstar you could name because that 2017-2020 era, it started to get really hard to watch. And Brock Lesnar was a part of that reason. He wasn't the sole reason, but Man, when Brock Lesnar was on your TV, you felt like you want to turn that TV off a lot of those times. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's a lot of superstars that I just named that a part of this list that you could name in the GOAT conversations where I never felt I genuinely wanted to turn the TV off when they were on TV. Brock Lesnar gave that feel around that time frame with his lack of matches that he would have, hit or miss. Like, some of his matches would be good, some of them would be bad. His stories were boring. The people that he beat that you felt could have benefited, if they had beat Brock at the time, the reign of terror championship reigns that he was having, bro, it just was unbearable. I can't put Brock in the GOAT conversation. I feel like other people have done much more than him. He is accomplished. He's done a lot. Maybe some people will put him in the top 10, I guess, depending on who you ask. But to say the GOAT, nah, I can't say that. Listen, there's been a lot of superstars who have had a lot of great careers in WWE history by far, and, there's other superstars I didn't even talk about. Batista, Mick Foley, Chris Jericho, maybe that you could put a part of this conversation, I guess, depending on who you ask. But those are 20 names that I named right there. Let me know which ones you agree with and disagree with. Let me know if I left off some superstars that you feel like should be a part of this conversation. Like, it's hard to really rank the GOAT. Like, you're talking about the GOAT in, like, any sport, any genre, any movies, like, actors and stuff like that. It's hard to rank, like, the greatest movie ever, the greatest song ever, the greatest actor, the greatest artist, the greatest this, the greatest that. Like, it's very hard depending on who you ask because everybody's criteria is going to be different. Everybody's going to view things differently. But for me, the superstars that I named that I would say yes to, I feel like they all have legit arguments that you really can't deny. Like, you may not say yes that they are the GOAT for you, but I feel like they have real arguments to be considered in those conversations. Thank you all for watching this video. Greatly appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comment section below of any suggestions that you have. If you want to check out more wrestling content, you're in luck because you can click the video right here. If you want to check out the No Name Wrestling Podcast, all episodes, you're also in luck because you can click the playlist right there to check out every single episode.